What a field day for the heat down there. 1,000 people in the street singing songs and they carrying signs, mostly saying hooray for our side. These battle lines being drawn, nobody's right if everybody wrong. When people speak in their mind, getting so much resistance from behind. We got to stop the children, what's that sound? Everybody look, it's going down.
Hello, everyone. This is Lauren Steiner. Welcome to tonight's edition of The Robust Opposition. I'm really pleased to have with me as my guest two Amazon workers. One is a current worker, Derek Palmer, on my left. How you doing, Derek?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
And below me is Chris Smalls, who was terminated, actually, for speaking out against the crowded and unsanitary conditions.
Thank you for having me.
So let's get right to it. How long have you two been working for Amazon, and what have been your duties? Let's start with you, Chris.
Sure. I've been working with Amazon since 2015. I started off as a tier 1 warehouse associate. Actually took a pay cut coming to Amazon. I started off making $12.75. Started off as a picker. I worked hard for about 7 months, and then I was promoted up to tier 3, which is a process assistant, something like a manager assistant, business title process assistant though.
So can you describe what a picker does and then what a process assistant does?
Sure. So pickers are responsible for picking the customer orders off of the robots before they're transferred to the pack department. They pick the customer's orders off the robots. They put them in the yellow totes. The yellow totes are transferred to the conveyor system. The conveyor system carries the totes down to the pack department to be packed out.
And what does a process assistant do?
Process assistant is pretty much being assistant to a manager. We oversee the operation. We help remove barriers for the associates. We audit them. We coach them. We make sure they're safe as they perform their work duties. We're also responsible for certain training. And we also just oversee the operation, make sure everything runs smooth, make sure everybody's in the right position.
And what is your job title, Derek? What do you do and how long have you been at the company?
Well, I've been with Amazon overall for 4.5 years. I'm also in the pick department, so I'm responsible for picking the customer orders, placing them in the yellow tote, pushing them down the conveyor, and sending them to the pack department.
So now, under normal conditions before this coronavirus, how would you describe working conditions at an Amazon warehouse?
Well, to be honest, like it hasn't really been clean, prior to the pandemic. There's been pallets all over the place, trash all over the floor. The stations have been dirty. So it's pretty much the same thing that's been going on.
Chris, you want to add to that?
Yeah, sure. Beginning of, I want to say late February, I started to take precaution on it because we knew what we were dealing with, especially on the West Coast. The epicenter was Seattle at the time. And I was seeing things in our warehouse that we weren't protected. And the cleaning supplies were scarce. We didn't have any masks. The gloves that we were wearing are work gloves, so they're not protective at all. They're not medical field gloves. So I was trying to raise escalation on that in beginning of March. So my associates and employees in my department that I oversee, I was sending home I was seeing them come down with symptoms. They were dizzy, they were fatigued, they were vomiting. Some of them couldn't finish their 10-hour shift. I kept sending some of them to the AmCare office multiple times throughout the shift. So these are things that I would see. But me personally, I never had any symptoms. Knock on wood, never came down with any type of illness.
Now, Derek, do you know people in this particular warehouse that are now suffering from COVID and, God forbid, have passed?
Well, I do know a few people who have the virus. I'm not aware of anyone who passed away, but a lot of people have been affected have been affected by what's going on.
Now, Chris, when you first brought this to management's attention, what was their response?
Very nonchalant. It was the beginning of March, like I stated. We didn't have any confirmed cases in the building. So because of that, they figured they were in compliance with the CDC guidelines as well. There was no need to panic, no need to change anything. We weren't prepared at all. We were still on top of each other. Midway through March, we had an activities committee party, a huge party in the building with a DJ and popcorn machine. This is mid-March, and the pandemic was already in the country for well over a month. And I was very concerned. I was heightened. My alert was heightened, and I was afraid for what was about to go on. And I think I was right about that. I tried to be proactive and went to management, and they pretty much swept me under the rug, and they told me, there's no need to panic. We're following safety guidelines from the CDC. And I said, well, these guidelines are not working.
So then you decided that you were going to stage a walkout. Tell us what made you decide to do that. Were you scared about doing that? How did you organize it, and how did it turn out?
Sure. Well, there was a process. That wasn't my original plan at all. Derek can tell you, me and Derek personally, the week of March 24th, we went to the building off the clock, unpaid the entire week. We sat in the break room from 7 a.m. in the morning to about 4:30 in the afternoon, almost 8 hours a day, every single day of the week, bringing groups of associates into the general manager's office, interrupting his morning meetings to voice our concerns. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we're talking about from March 25th to March 28th, the day they quarantined me. By the way, they only quarantined me. They didn't even quarantine Derek till this day. Derek's still employed, just to let everybody know. They only quarantined me. They didn't quarantine none of the employees that were around the colleague that I sent home who tested positive. She was around them for multiple days in a row for 10 hours a day, and they didn't quarantine not one of them. They didn't even tell them that she tested positive. So on Saturday, when they quarantined me, me and Derek, we left together. We went back to my house. We started brainstorming. We only had literally a day and a half to mobilize this walkout. So that's when we decided to do it. That Saturday, after exhausting all my resources, reaching out to the media, reaching out to all the government departments, the health department, the CDC, I wasn't getting any response. So I finally got an article published in the New York Post, and now the media was coming to my door. So what I did was I made sure that I used that platform to stage this walkout, and that's exactly what I did.
So Derek, tell us how the walkout worked. Was it easy or hard to get people to join you?
Yeah, I would definitely say it's hard because people are scared of losing their jobs. So, initially they're saying, oh, no, I'm not going to join. I'm not going to do that and this, that, and the third. But, this is for a big cause. This is for, this is for you guys. Like, we're basically fighting for you guys. We don't care, like, if Amazon tries to retaliate against us, because this is bigger than that. So, people weren't joining, but we did get a small group of people, and, it kind of expanded. More people joined, and, we made history that day. That was a historic day. Other buildings as well were following suit after that. Detroit, I believe Chicago as well. People from other countries have been, asking us, like, what do we do? Like, how do we do it? And we're just like, we just went in there and just spoke our minds. So,
yeah,
I'm very pleased with the outcome.
Well, this is how organizing works. Sometimes you don't get a lot of people at first, but if you're lucky enough to get the media and you bring attention to it, then other groups see and they follow. So you were very smart as an organizer to pursue the media. So in response, how did Amazon handle that? How did they retaliate?
Well, by retaliating, they fired Chris. They felt that, since they fired him, that was just going to silence anyone who decided that they wanted to protest in the future. And, and it pretty much backfired on them. It only hyped up the whole situation. So everyone was already aware of the strike. So now they're hearing that, oh, they fired him for that. So, they're breaking laws, and, they've actually retaliated against me
How so?
as well.
How so?
So 2 days after, we actually planned another strike. And 2 days after that, I received the final write-up. And mind you, I've never received a write-up in Amazon. Like, I don't get write-ups, I'm one of the top performers. So they basically saying I violated social distancing on the first protest. So they gave me this write-up, I believe it was, April 10th. April 10th, they gave it to me. So 2 days after my second protest, they decided to give me a final. So, that is retaliation. I expected it, so it's nothing major to me.
Now, Chris, when they fired you and they told you it was for breaking quarantine, what did you then do?
Well, I told the media, because first
But
of
what
all,
about human resources?
Well, after they fired me, there was no more communication. I actually hung up the phone on them because, first of all, there were no safety guidelines implemented in the month of March. How can you implement safety guidelines for one associate but not the whole entire building? If I was supposed to be quarantined, so was everybody else. I was in and out that building the entire week. Derek was with me. Derek's the witness. Hand in hand, step by step, minute by minute. Derek was with me every step of the way. We both were in the building. We ride to work together. So how do you quarantine me and don't even quarantine him? How do you quarantine me and don't even quarantine none of the employees that worked in that department with a supervisor who tested positive? How do you quarantine me and don't quarantine yourself when I was in and out of your office the entire week? I was in and out of the general manager's office. Doesn't make sense to me. So, this is all the spokespersons and all the higher executives just repeating false news that they get from the management or the building when they don't know the facts. And it's going to look bad on them. It's already looking bad on them after that leaked memo as well.
Talk about that leaked memo, how they intended to frame it.
These people didn't do nothing for me my entire life, my entire career. What have they done for me? Nothing. For them to sit there and have a conversation about me doesn't mean nothing to me. I know what is said, and I'm happy that it was leaked. That's my response, because now we all know who Jeff Bezos have around him. We all know the type of conversations they have amongst each other. It's very disrespectful, distasteful, disgraceful, and they all should be ashamed of themselves. There's no emotions in the world that'll make you say the things you said without even knowing the person.
Right.
And if he has emotions like that, then his emotions should be to take care of the employees and start
it's all
paying
about the bottom line with these companies. Derek, what did they then do after they fired Chris? Did they do anything to improve the conditions?
After they fired Chris, it was like a completely different building. Now all of a sudden they want to give us masks. Now all of a sudden they want to give us gloves. Now they just want to make it seem like they've been cleaning up the whole time, and it's just disgraceful. Like you said, the CDC actually came into the building, and I feel like that's also a part of the reason why they had to step up their game as far as safety. So yeah, after the firing of Chris, that's when they tried to put on the persona that they've been safe the whole time.
Now, have you been speaking to other warehouses? I noticed there's a Facebook group that has, I think it was 10,000 members in it, and of Amazon warehouse workers. Have you been in touch with them and trying to organize them into some cohesive group so that you can be even stronger than just individual warehouses?
I've talked to other people from other buildings. They all wanna join in and continue to fight, and we appreciate that a lot, because that's what we need. We need strength in numbers. We need people to participate.
As far as you know, has anyone ever tried to unionize Amazon workers?
Yeah, they
Mm,
have. They have, but Amazon is anti-union. We all know that. Um, this been failed attempts. Um, I'm trying to work on an angle that's not going to fail this time with this revolution that I started. As Derek said it, yeah, we've been in communications with multiple buildings all across the nation, not just in the nation, but all across the globe. I get emails every single day. I get texts every single day, direct messages every single day. And I'm forming a communication um, where we all going to be on one accord and we all have one common goal right now. And that's to not only protect just Amazon workers, but protect all frontliners, no matter what industry you're in. Something like this can never happen again. So I have a bigger goal, a bigger mission. It started off with JFK8, but I hope to make sure that we have a change for the future generation.
Well, a lot of people find purpose in a crisis like this. I will tell you that I am doing more shows than ever. I'm doing about 5 shows a week because there's so many stories to be told. And I know that it's very meaningful when there's uncertainty in the world and you don't know what's going to happen. It's good to have a purpose. Are you guys finding purpose in this organizing?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
mm,
My life
mhm.
changed on March 30th. I was just a father of 3, going to work. I'm still a father of 3, but now I'm unemployed. So I put my career on the line. It cost me my career. I have no regrets. Everything I did was for the right cause. I still feel that way, and now I'm even more empowered and I'm more motivated to make sure that I'm getting the right knowledge, the right guidance to form something that's going to benefit everybody. So, like I said, this never happens again. All these employees and associates that are unpaid for the month of March up until present day, that's what I'm raising money for. With my GoFundMe, this money is going to them. Unfortunately, the richest man in the world doesn't care about them. But um, this is the reason why I fight this fight for the voices that are unheard, and I'm going to continue to do that.
Derek?
Yeah, same thing. We're on the same team, on the same accord. So we're going to continue fighting. We're going to get other people involved. And yeah, I'm excited.
Chris, apparently the Attorney General of the state of New York and de Blasio, Mayor de Blasio, both said they were going to investigate your firing. Have you seen anybody call you from those offices to get details to investigate? And if they are able to get your job back for you, would you want it back?
First part, uh, I won't get into further details with that, but I am taking legal actions. The Attorney State General Office is definitely withholding their promise. They definitely are communicate with my legal team. We will be releasing a press release within the coming days with the Attorney State General's office. Um, and tonight, previously, Derek just spoke with Cory Booker, one of the senators that is also standing with me. He wrote a letter to Amazon on my behalf. So tonight we got the opportunity to share our story with him. Derek laid out all the facts, everything we went through, and along with other workers from all different types of industries. So hopefully the government, along with the Attorney State General's office, continue to put pressure on Amazon to get answers and do something for what's going on right now, because it's not right and it's unsafe. So that's what's going on right now, and there will be a press release within the coming days of exactly what the demands are.
How did you feel about talking to Cory Booker? I've met him. He's a very charming individual. What did you think of Cory Booker?
Oh, Cory Booker, he's amazing, man. He's very inspiring. Like he was basically quoting Dr. Martin Luther King and like basically comparing what we were doing to what Martin Luther King was doing. And I was just very excited to um, express how I felt about what's going on at our site. And he definitely heard me. He's definitely inspired by what we said, and he's gonna continue to fight for us.
Okay, Chris, now what would you want people to do aside from contribute to the GoFundMe? And we can put that link in the comments of the show. Do you want people to boycott Amazon while this is going on, or what?
Absolutely. For what? It's not a necessity. I understand that they deemed us to be essential, but we're not selling essential items. Derek can tell you, Derek's a picker. He picks customer orders. All these items that we pick are not essential. We're still picking out sex toys. We're still picking out board games, video games. We're risking our lives for things that people can go to the store for still. The grocery stores are still open. There's no food shortage in America. Jeff Bezos put a Band-Aid on it by donating $100 million to the food pantry, but doesn't pay his employees. Doesn't make sense to me. We got to realize we adjusted to the society. 10 years ago, we weren't relying on Amazon. It's a fairly new company. It's only been around for about 25 years, a little less, a little more. And we're adjusting to what they're doing. And we're looking at it as we need them. We don't need it. I understand people like to hit that one-click buy, and you have a package delivered to your doorstep within hours, within a day. But think about that process. Think about how many people that box had to touch to get there. About 6 people, maybe 7. Think about the fact that this virus lives on cardboard, plastic, metal. These are all things you got to take in consideration if you're a consumer. So the best thing you could do right now is to boycott Amazon. And the best thing is the billionaires could do, the CEO could do, is shut it down. Shut down your warehouses for a few months. Pay your employees, retro pay at that, retro pay for the entire month of March. Stop offering unpaid time because that's not an option. Pay your employees, send some of this billions of dollars to the medical field. Those are the real heroes. Stop comparing us to the Red Cross, because we're not. Send them money over there. And if the government need hospitals, there's your hospitals. JFK 8 Staten Island holds 14 NFL football fields. It's 900,000 square feet. But you got doctors and nurses working out of tents in New York.
Yeah.
So that's my message.
Well, I want to say that I think you guys did an amazing job, and I hope you carry on. Are you also trying to include the drivers as well as the warehouse workers in your organization?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Drivers, techs. As you heard, we had some female techs that were terminated within the last 24 hours. I stand with them as well. Tech solidarity. It doesn't matter what fathom you are. If you're a frontliner, what field the industry you're in, if you're a frontliner, you're unprotected, you're unsafe right now, I stand with you. And we all need to come together in solidarity. And we have one common goal, and that's to protect our workers.
That's right. All right. Well, thank you very much, guys, for being on my show. Continue the good fight. It's a righteous fight. Ultimately, I'd like to see more workers unionized, because when you have a union behind you, you're much stronger. I've covered the ride share strikes here in Los Angeles, and half the people will do it and half the people won't, because like you say, they need the money. But when you form a union and you collect strike pay, that's how you're able to do it. And 100 years ago, unions were a lot stronger in this country. And over the years, the capitalist class has been able to whittle them down to nothing, where they have no power, hardly any power anymore. So it's important. Solidarity is important. You guys are really doing heroes work. So I want to thank you very much. And I want to tell my audience that tomorrow my show is going to be with Jim Lardner, who is a journalist and a political activist. And he did an exhaustive project for the American Prospect called Mapping Trump's Corruption, in which he shows every single executive branch agency, every single regulatory agency, and how Trump has corrupted, infiltrated, and eliminated regulations, et cetera, et cetera. On Thursday, I'm going to be interviewing Branko Marcetic, who's a staff writer for Jacobin, and he just had a book published by Jacobin Press called Yesterday's Man, The Case Against Joe Biden, which is unfortunate because we were all supporting Bernie Sanders, who I think should not have dropped out, I think he should have stayed in the race and used his movement to lead a rent strike, a student debt strike, and then a general strike where everybody walks off the job. We've got conditions in this country that we haven't had in 100 years, with the pandemic of 1918 and the Great Depression of 1929. 25–30% of people are going to be out of work. It's a perfect time to organize things. And he thought it was more important to go back into the Senate and fight for crumbs against the Democratic Party, who refuses to give us Medicare for all and a Green New Deal and $15 an hour. Good luck with trying to move Joe Biden to the left. He can't even complete a sentence without using a teleprompter. So I hope people just organize in their own workplaces. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. As these two gentlemen show, we do not need leaders. We are our own leaders. So stay safe, stay home, and keep fighting. Good night.
All right.
Good night. Take care. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having us.
Good night.